In this video, I'm going to do a professional scientific review of the Panasonic EZ952 OLED TV, which is also marketed as the EZ950 outside the UK. I'm also going to admit that I'm only human, no matter how highly you may think of me, because I found a rare processing bug on this TV that I've missed in a previous review. Hello everyone, Vincent here from HDTV Test here. I review and calibrate televisions professionally. This is my first video in 2 weeks. Perhaps later you'll find out why in this video. But that's not important. Let's talk about this TX-55EZ952B, which is Panasonic's mid-range OLED TV for 2017. Feature-wise, it's a 55-inch television which uses a WRGB OLED panel from LG Display with native 4K resolution. It's a flat screen and supports the open HDR10 standard and HLG or hybrid log gamma, the broadcast HDR standard, but not Dolby Vision. Like the step-up EZ1002, the EZ952 has received Ultra HD Premium and THX 4K certifications. Panasonic's 2017 OLEDs are the only ones on the market that have been certified by these two organizations, Ultra HD Alliance and THX. The design is no frills but still attractive. The bezel is black and slim. From the side, the panel is very thin at the top but expands at the bottom half to accommodate the electronics, the speakers, power supply and connection inputs. The tabletop stand has a rectangular base and is extremely easy to put together. In fact, the Panasonic EZ952 or EZ950 is by far the easiest TV we've assembled in 2017, unlike one other OLED TV which took ages. The connection ports are found on the left side behind the television. There are 4 HDMI inputs, and although all 4 support 4K HDR format with HDCP 2.2, only HDMI input 1 and 2 are the full bandwidth ports that can go all the way up to 4K at 50Hz or 60Hz at higher chroma or bit depth. Note that 2 HDMI and 2 USB ports face directly backwards, so if you are wall mounting the EZ952 OLED television and need to hook up some cables or USB drives to these inputs, it's going to be like squashing some appendages into a tight spot. A plastic cover is applied for better cable management. Let's move on to picture quality. Rather than just going through the motions in a boring and mechanical manner by talking about near black handling, then colors, then motion, then video processing, then HDR, then gaming, and so on and so forth, I'm going to take a slightly different approach in this video and explain the strengths and weaknesses of the Panasonic EZ952 or EZ950. But before that, I'd like to take a moment to thank Crampton & More for sponsoring this video. Crampton & More are a British retailer that sells electrical and electronic equipment, and I've been working closely with them for a good few years now to organize the annual UK TV Shootout event. From time to time, they also loan me TVs to review, especially TVs that for one reason or another, manufacturers are not willing to send to us for review. If you are considering buying a TV, even if it's not this Panasonic TX-55EZ952B, any television at all, if you're considering buying it, just give them a call on 0113 244 6607. Ask for David Connor. Say that you have heard about them from HDTV Test, and he'll take care of you with great price and service. Without their support, I wouldn't be able to host a shootout and review certain televisions, so I would appreciate it if you could support them in return. I'll also put the link in the description below. Thank you. Okay, back to the strengths and weaknesses. Strength number 1 is undoubtedly color accuracy. Panasonic is a TV manufacturer which places a lot of importance on image fidelity, and from the moment we switched on the EZ952 and selected one of the more accurate picture presets, the first impression that struck us was just how natural the picture looked. Of course, proper calibration using the comprehensive array of calibration controls can improve the picture even further, tailored to your viewing habits and your specific room conditions, allowing you to experience Hollywood movies as intended by directors and producers right in the comfort of your own home. Strength number 2 is the different types of motion-enhancing technologies available on the Panasonic EZ952. Like all OLED TVs on the market today, the EZ952 or EZ950 is a sample and hold display, so motion resolution came in at an expected figure of 300 lines according to this test pattern in Chapter 31 of the FPD benchmark software test disk. The Panasonic EZ952 offers both interpolation and black frame insertion, which more than double motion resolution to 650 lines. Interpolation is controlled by the Intelligent Frame Creation setting, and there's a custom submenu which lets you adjust the deblur and dejudder components separately, so you can get higher motion clarity without introducing soap opera effect or SOE to 24 frames per second films. This situation is unlike the Sony A1 OLED, where even the lowest interpolation setting will introduce soap opera effect or SOE, however slight. The Panasonic OLED also offers black frame insertion or BFI. This can be activated by the clear motion setting. LG's 2017 OLEDs don't even offer BFI, and while the Sony A1 does, the result can exhibit more flicker than the Panasonic EZ952 or EZ950, depending on the incoming source frame rate. One thing to note about Panasonic's BFI algorithm is that it appears to operate at 60 Hz, which explains why 24 Hz material looked less flickery than on the Sony A1 with BFI engaged. But the downside is that some telescenic judder would be noticeable in slow panning shots in 24 frames per second films. Moving on, strength number 3 is Panasonic's impressive HDR10 tone mapping, striking a good balance between preserving specular highlight detail and overall brightness of the HDR image. As you can see from this Batflex scene, you must be sick of it now, from Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, a 4K Blu-ray that's mastered to 4000 nits. Strength number 4 is low input lag for playing video or PC games, 26 milliseconds in both 1080p SDR or standard dynamic range and 4K HDR modes. Enabling black frame insertion added half a frame of lag, bringing the number up to 34 milliseconds, which is still very playable. If you want full 444 chroma, engaging the pure direct modes will increase lag time to only 36 milliseconds. Strength number 5 is better above black handling compared with 2016 OLED models. In the Skyfall Blu-ray, when Javier Bardem is approaching the chapel at night, the Panasonic EZ952 is basically on par with the EZ1002, the LG B7 and C7, and the Sony A1, displaying less noise and macro blocking than 2016 LG OLEDs. In terms of near-black uniformity, our TX-55EZ952B review sample was one of the cleaner examples we've seen, with no vignetting or thick vertical bands. But bear in mind that 55-inch OLED screens generally have better uniformity than 65-inch versions. Okay, we've covered the strengths. Now let's talk about the weaknesses of the Panasonic EZ950 or EZ952. Number 1 is limited peak brightness for HDR. None of the consumer WRGB OLED TVs we've tested to date can deliver more than 800 nits of peak brightness on a 10% window once calibrated to D65 white point. And the EZ952 is no exception. We measured a peak brightness of around 630 nits. As good as the Panasonic OLED's HDR10 tone mapping was at retaining bright highlight detail, it still looked compressed and muted compared with a full array local dimming LED LCD that can hit more than 1200 nits. If you look at Batflex white shirt, again, here, the folds and creases are visible on the EZ952, but not as obvious as on the 12,000 nit full array local dimming LED LCD, which has more headroom to delineate each brightness level clearly. Continuing the theme of HDR, the Panasonic EZ952 also doesn't support Dolby Vision. At this juncture, we haven't been able to test how much of the theoretical advantage of Dolby Vision's dynamic metadata system will translate into real-world benefits over an OLED TV with already great static metadata tone mapping, such as the EZ952. But the marketing reality is that many consumers who are considering spending a few thousand quid will be looking for some sort of future-proofing, regardless of whether Dolby Vision takes off. It's become a tick-box exercise. Weakness number 3 is rare but reproducible stuttering and combing on certain scenes with mixed film and video title overlays, which is really surprising given Panasonic's excellent video processing track record. If you look at this Sky News snippet where there's an advert filmed in 24 frames per second and a news ticker underneath, the scrolling text exhibits some tearing and frame drops as the advert is played. We spent hours troubleshooting and experimenting with various settings and found that while setting Intelligent Frame Creation or IFC to mid or max can smooth out and mask the stuttering, the only way to eradicate it completely is by enabling game mode or the pure direct modes. This issue is very likely present on the flagship Panasonic EZ950 OLED 2, which uses the same HTX2 processor, but I completely missed it during my review period, which gives you some sort of indication of how rare and fleeting the stutter was. I can only apologize, I'm only human, and have to participate in other life activities, such as visiting Rome during a heat wave, organizing my daughter's 4th birthday party, and attending the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Back to the Panasonic EZ952. Its final weakness is that the screen can exhibit a magenta tint when hit by light, more so than LG's 2017 OLED TVs, the Sony A1 or A1E, and Panasonic's own EZ1002, which has an absolute black filter. For critical viewing in a dark room, we don't think this is a problem at all. Before you start accusing Panasonic of using last year's OLED panel on the EZ952 because of this magenta tint, that's certainly not the case based on our analysis of the subpixel structure, spectral power of distribution, and ABL behavior. We also asked Panasonic, and here's their reply. So to conclude, the Panasonic EZ952 or EZ950 delivers much of the outstanding picture quality seen on the flagship EZ1002 at a lower price point and will appeal greatly to videophiles who care about accurate movie reproduction in the home. Compared with other 2017 OLEDs, which are similarly priced, such as the LG B7 and C7 or the Sony A1, the Panasonic EZ952 has the upper hand in the areas of color accuracy and motion boosting technologies. However, it doesn't support Dolby Vision and suffers from intermittent stuttering in certain scenes, which we hope Panasonic can fix through a firmware update. If you found this video useful, please click the like button and subscribe to the HDTV Test YouTube channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you the next time.